caves.
How's it going, guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's been kind of a busy week here the last couple of weeks with a bunch of updates and reveals and news regarding the next DLC pack for Destiny, the House of Wolves. So I thought it'd be kind of interesting to go over everything that I found and kind of put everything in one video that makes it a little bit easier than having to kind of scour the internet or IGN or Google or anything to get all the information. So with that said, this is probably, and I'm more than sure, not a comprehensive list of everything that's out there. There's probably stuff that I've missed, just because there's been so much information released regarding it, and I'm sure there's information they're holding on to until it comes out as well. So obviously don't want to release everything and give it, not have any surprises, but. Like I said, there is kind of a bit of information to go over, so I have a pretty good feeling that this is going to be a pretty good coverage of everything that's been released up to this point. It looks like now we have another week before the DLC actually releases on the 19th. Yeah, so we'll just go ahead and we will get started. Starting off with just regular changes to the gameplay. As you all know, I'm sure you're aware of, they are introducing a new social hub called the Vestin Outpost, which is going to be located in the reef, basically just another tower within the reef, and then everything you're going to be able to do is going to be able to do from there, but the tower itself isn't going away, and it's actually going to be getting changed as well. So within this tower, you're going to run into some new NPCs, some new characters, as well as some new factions. The factions are the Queen's Wrath, which is led by Petra Venji. I'm gonna butcher all these names, by the way. Who basically is going to be giving you your story missions for the House of Wolves as well as some bounties. And apparently this faction is going to be focusing on just the defeat of the House of the Wolves. So you may get some buffs and things from doing stuff with the story as well. The next one you have is House of Judgment, which is run by an individual called Varkas. This guy is the one that is in charge of the Prison of Elders. He's a fallen NPC, and then you're going to be getting things from him in order to do the arena, the endgame arena, and then also possible experience buffs for killing fallen enemies and things like that. You have Disciples of Osiris, which is run by Brother Vance, and then this one possible rewards for doing the Trials of Osiris, which is the endgame PvP portion that's coming out with this DLC as well. Each one of the vendors, I believe, maybe with the exception of Petra because she's the story one, but I'm not 100% sure with this one, are going to sell have their own shaders, or not shaders, there are class items, different things you can purchase from them as far as goods. They may or may not, I wasn't able to find if they are going to sell their own weapons or anything like that, or armor pieces, so they'll probably function a lot like the ones that do in the tower. There's going to be a bounty board, there's going to be a Cryptarch type person. Xur will actually, on the weekends when he pops up, could pop up in either the one in the reef or the actual tower. So he's not going to be in both locations, so he could spawn in either one.
I'll check it out.
But he'll still show up. So this new Vestin outpost, this new tower in the reef, is going to function a lot like the original tower from the core game. So some other changes to the core game. They have added 2 new ways to kind of tweak and level up and do things differently for your weapons and your armor. For weapons, you can do what's called a reforge. Basically what this does is it allows you to rebuild your weapon. If you find a legendary or an exotic or whatever, you have your weapon, you don't necessarily like the stats, the element damage, whatever the case may be, you can reforge it, and then by doing that, you'll kind of re-roll the perks that the weapon has. The downside to that is once you do it and you get to one that you like and the one you want, you're gonna have to start all over with the upgrade. It resets everything back to zero as far as upgrading it. So there's a price to pay, but like I said, it gives you an opportunity to reset stats. So now you're going to have some variations within the weapons within the game. So if somebody has an icebreaker, it may not be the same icebreaker because it has different stats. So they're really trying to put a focus, it looks like, on this DLC on differentiating each player, each character in the game. So not everybody's just the same person. Then you can do the same thing with I believe you do the same thing with armor. Uh, and then they have what's now called ascending. And ascending allows you to basically take whatever piece of gear you want and shoot it all the way up to its max level, max upgrade, but it is going to be rather expensive to do that. So you have those abilities to do that now as well. They are also doing some changes within the currency and trying to bring some more value to previously gained materials like Ascendant Stars, Ascendant Energy, things like that. You'll now be able to go back to the tower and speak to the speaker, and you'll have the ability to exchange. I believe it's a 1-for-1 rate with some of those older materials to get some newer materials to be able to level things up as well. Speaking with actual older weapons and older things, I actually just saw today that Bungie did confirm that unlike House of Wolves, or not, unlike The Dark Below, within the House of Wolves, they wanted to bring a balance to the loot. And so what they're doing is House of Wolves weapons, armor, those kind of drops that are specific to House of Wolves will have an opportunity to drop in the other raids. So you could potentially get something that's from the House of Wolves DLC in the Vaulted Glass or in Crota's End. Now, it's all going to be subject to the same percentages, the same rates, the same drop rates and everything with those raids, but you have an opportunity to get that. And I think the reason they're doing this is they realize not everybody's going to purchase the DLC right away. And I think they left a lot of sour grapes and a lot of hard feelings within the Dark Below by kind of sectioning off that section of the community that didn't purchase it. So even though that section of the community that's not buying this game obviously isn't going to be able to do the end game stuff, the new Prison of Elders or the Trials of Osiris, any of that stuff, they'll still be able to access the Reef. They'll still be able to purchase things from the Reef vendors, and now we'll be able to still get some of the new exotics, the new armor sets, while still playing the same core base game. So it's just bringing more of the community along with everybody who does purchase the DLC. Obviously, you're not going to get the story, you're not going to get that experience, but you're not going to get punished and left out without getting any of the equipment either. So they are also working on, they're working on another strike called the Shadow Thief. There hasn't been a whole lot released on that. I imagine that you'll see something coming out on that within the next week or so, since the game's coming up. They'll probably give you a synopsis of what it's going to be, kind of tell you what its mechanics are possibly. Back, like I mentioned, in the old tower, all of the old vendors are going to be getting upgrades and updates as well, so they're going to have a whole lot of new materials, they're updating and upgrading their cycles, so everything's going to be a little more improved with the old vendors. So even the old vendors are going to have new stuff to do and new stuff to get, so that's pretty cool too. So then it looks like and then in order to, they added back to currency again. I know I'm kind of jumping around. They're adding a thing called Ethereal Light, which will be then used to upgrade the new weapons, and you can get those from the Prison of Elders, the Trials of Osiris, Nightfalls, and Iron Banner play. So introducing a new material into the game like they did with Dark Below. So other than that, there isn't any other general game changes that are coming in with this one. No raise on the Glimmer cap, and then no new ghost shells being added to find as well. So that is it for just overall general changes. Now, kind of going into, and then they're also leveling the level cap up to a 34, so you'll be able to do that. So they're going into the 2 new modes that are being heavily featured in the updates and the previews and everything the last couple of weeks. I also forgot to mention that they're adding another sidearm. That's another weapon type called a sidearm, which is going to be going into with your, I believe it goes in with your special weapon. Basically, it's just a fast-firing pistol. Typically, it's going to have elemental damage and a very high fire rate. So, you have your hand cannons, things like that. It's just going to be these weapons are just going to be designed mainly to be able to get some quick damage in really quick. While you're either trying to reload or you're trying to, get some shots off to try to get them to back off a little bit so you can get away. Things like that. So they're adding that as well. So now we'll go ahead and we'll jump into those other 2 modes that they had been previewing heavily. The Trials of Osiris,
or the Prison of Elders.
Again, butchering the name.
Priest is still
and
inside.
Then the Prison of Elders. So we'll start off with the Trials of Osiris. Basically, it's an end game. It's an endgame mode. Will not unlock until you finish the story missions, and it is a new PvP 3v3 mode. Basically, what you need to do is you need to get what's called a Trials Passage. It's kind of like the Iron Banner tokens, I believe. You need to have one of those to be able to actually get into the mode, into the game mode, and then once you're in there, you can continue to play until you have 3 losses. Now, it's not 3 lost rounds, it's 3 lost games. I believe a game is best of 5 or something like best of 7, something like that. But it's elimination style, and you have to eliminate all 3 players on the team to win the round. So if you kill 2 players, but there's 1 guy left and he revives his other teammates, the round's going to keep going until you kill all 3. So you're going to get that. There's no matchmaking for the round or for this mode, so you're going to have to bring in your own fire team, your own friends. It's going to be 1 map per week, so every week, and I believe this is going to be a timed event that you're allowed to get in to do it. So, kind of like a Xur period, or, when they did the Queen's Bounty or something like that, was just a weekend, or the Iron Banner was just a weekend or something like that. I believe that's what's going to happen with this as well. The reason they're only putting out 1 map is they really want people, through the course of these gameplays, of these sessions, to learn the map, learn the strongholds of the map, learn the strategies that each map brings, work together as a team to kind of figure out the best methods to win, because the more wins you get, the better shot you have in getting better loot, better equipment from it. There is no balancing, so everything is just straight up go. There isn't any kind of, this team's rocking nothing but the Mytho class, and these guys got nothing but the Red Death, or Red Death, whatever it's called. There is no balancing. It's just straight in, go. So you'll do that. Let's see what else they have here. Like I said, that time frame more than likely is going to be a Friday to Tuesday type period, that weekend type period. And then you can buy things out of here you can earn things called passage coins, which will allow you to buy things from, I believe, the vendor who runs this. And you'll get all of those through playing the trials, but then they're also going to provide them by playing other Crucible sessions as well. So again, making small changes to make older core base game modes relevant again, because that was, to me, the biggest problem with Destiny, with all the changes they did and everything they did with Dark Below, is they made a lot of the core base game irrelevant. They made a lot of that grinding and a lot of that hard work pointless. It didn't matter anymore because none of it had any value. So it seems like they're trying to go backwards, and they're not going to be able to make systematic, hardcore changes to the game that a lot of people want, they can go in and make little small tweaks and things like what they're doing in this session or in this DLC to kind of start building and improving on the things that people would like to see. So it's good that they're doing that. So, like I mentioned, it's everything that you do is going to be win based, and everything's got a different tier. There's, if you have 2 wins, and all of the things that you're going to get are going to be raid-like rewards. So it's not going to be random engrams you find on the ground somewhere or anything like that. It's going to be pretty good stuff. So 2 wins, you get a blue pack. 3 wins, you get a blue pack. 5 wins, you get whatever weekly armor piece is available for that day or that period. 6 wins, you get a legendary pack. 7 wins, you get a weapon, whatever that weekly weapon is. And then 8 wins, you get another legendary pack. And there's gonna be two sets of armor that you can get. One's gonna be from that weekly thing or whatever, and then another piece will be just a random piece as well. So there's going to be different varieties, different things you can get, and then now that you add on the fact that you can kind of re-roll each thing's stats and do different things differently, as well as doing that re-roll on old legendary things to make them a little more relevant, I think you're going to see a lot of more people looking a lot differently and having different characters in this new DLC and going forward. So that's good. So now we'll go to the Prison of Elders, which is another end game mode that you have to finish you have to finish the story mode to be able to get to, and it is the new end game PvE mode. Basically, it is the way that Bungie described it was horde mode with a twist. Now, I've heard some people describe it a lot like doing raiding and horde and dungeon running, like in World of Warcraft and things like that, where you fight a lot of smaller enemies, and at the end of the level you fight a big boss, and you do that for several different rounds, and then there's a big reward at the end. This is going to be a lot like that. So basically what it is that Varric or Varkus guy runs the Prison of Elders, which is a big prison spaceship full of some of the, as Bungie put it, the baddest people in the galaxy, in the world or whatever. And then basically what you do is you're challenged to go in there and fight your way through everybody, and at the end, if you're successful, you get a reward. So there's going to be 4 different levels. There's a level 28, a level 32, 34, and 35. The level 28 level, or the level 28 ship, if you will, is the only one that will have matchmaking, and it only has 4 rounds. The 32, 34, and 35 will have to require a fire team and has 5 rounds. Now, within each round, like I mentioned, you're going to fight a bunch of different smaller enemies, and at the end of it, you'll fight that round or that level or that floor, whatever, boss. Now, each level is going to be race specific, so you'll play a Hive or the Hive or whatever, the Hive, whatever. You'll fight a room with just them. You'll fight a floor with just the Fallen. Fight a one with just the Cabal. And then at the end of each one, there'll be a boss. And then within each floor, there's going to be what's called critical objectives, or basically extra side missions, that'll provide you additional rewards if you're able to complete those within the actual round itself. So they're going to be doing that. And then each floor will also carry a modifier. And what that modifier can do, it can either be a positive buff or a negative buff. So it's going to function a lot like the Nightfalls. You'll get, Arc Burn for the enemies, or you'll get, Juggle, or something like that. Something it'll either happen good for you or happen bad for you, and it's all random all the time. So it's never going to, it shouldn't, I'm not going to say never, but it shouldn't be the same anytime you play it going through. It's not always going to be, I'm on the Fallen floor, so it's going to be Juggle all the time. Has a chance to be something different. So, so you have, let's see, and then on, it's been confirmed for the 32 and the 34, and assumed for the 35. At the end of the mode, at the end of the game, if you beat it, you beat the final boss in the 5th room, you receive a treasure key. And then you kind of, fall down some platforms like you did Vault of Glass style, down into the bottom of the ship, and there's a treasure room. And there's several chests in this room, and the nice thing with that chest, it's been confirmed by Bungie that you'll at the very least get some sort of legendary or exotic out of it all the time. Now it may be a chest piece, it may not be for the actual character you have, but you'll always get a legendary or exotic out of it all the time. So that that's nice, because it's nice to finally be able to know that at the end of this thing, it may not be something you want right now, but you're gonna get something that's actually worth a darn, instead of just some random blue engrams or something that you're not gonna use. So again, addressing the concern of the community that had before, that you spend all that time putting teams together to do the raid, you spend all that time getting through it, and 1 out of 6 guys maybe get a legendary and exotic. Everybody else just gets a bunch of blues, or I've seen greens, and it just seems to be like a lot of waste of time. So it does seem like with all of these changes and everything that they're doing, that they're listening to the community and the community's feedback. It looks like they've learned from some of the major mistakes that they made with the Dark Below, by trying to make a lot of the core base game stuff, and even the stuff from Dark Below, now that we're onto a new DLC, relevant and matter, and all of that time and effort that all the players have put into those 2 games, relevant as well. So it's good to see that those changes are coming. It gives you hope for what Destiny 2, or even Comet, when that comes out, I believe that sometime in September, when that comes out later down the road, that they're going to continue to improve on this game. Destiny's never been a bad game, honestly. It's really never been a bad game. It's just been a very flawed game. But again, like I said, it looks like they are starting to learn from their mistakes in the previous DLC and kind of change things around. So with everything covered here, like I said, you have a week before it comes out, so I'm sure there's going to be more information out there. I normally, just follow IGN, things like that, and get a lot of information on there. That's pretty much where I got all this stuff from. So, but just thought it'd be kind of, nice to put it all together in just one little thing, instead of trying to read, like I said, 40, 50 different articles. So we'll get to the actual release of it, because that is going to be slightly different than just your typical release, where it's available Monday at midnight or Tuesday 12 a.m. So it is going to be the 19th, with the exception of one release time. So on the 19th, it's going to be available on the 19th, after 10 a.m. Pacific time, after 1 p.m. Eastern time, after 6 p.m. GMT time, and then after 3 a.m. AEST time on the 20th. So that's going to be the only time that it won't be. It's the only release that it's not on the 20th. So then for us here in the Central Time, you'll be able to get it after noon on the 19th. So that is the release. That is everything that I've been able to find on it. So hopefully you guys find this helpful as far as trying to get an understanding of what to expect here in another week or so, when the DLC finally hits. To be honest with you, I had kind of given up on Destiny. I hadn't really played very much. I had, tagged along on some raids just to kind of get some characters leveled up a little bit, maybe gather a little bit. But with everything that had been out, previously in the last, I'd say, 2 months almost, maybe even longer, I really hadn't been playing it. So, but seeing everything that they're doing with this, it's gotten me kind of excited to get back into it and start playing that game some more. So, and I hope everybody feels the same way too. So, it'd be nice to get everybody back on and playing it again as well. So,
It won't take them long.
like I say, guys, this is everything I have. I'm sure there's going to be more out there this coming week. So, we'll all keep our eyes open and get ready for the 19th. So thank you guys very much for watching this video, taking the time out and following the channel and the page, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.